When we last left the Don't Bothers, they had just formed to thumb their nose in the authority of the Mighty Ducks. However, the transition is kind of rough given the fact that most of the team doesn't actually know how to play hockey. Still, the team does try to make the best of things. They even get a couple perks, like when Evan manages to convince his former Ducks teammate and principal love interest Sophie into switching teams, much to the chagrin of her career-driven parents. The team also managed to pick up 2 Czechoslovakian exchange students to play defense. The team's pluckiness and joy of playing hockey managed to even inspire some competitive fires in Gordon Bombay, who begins assisting the team, and suddenly they're on a winning streak. However, when it looks like they might qualify for the state tournament, the winning begins to get to Alex's head, and suddenly the team's beginning to lose its way. Still, they make the state tournament and things can still fall in their favor, and there's a lot more than just a giant trophy and a $200 gift card to P.F. Chang's riding on the line. This is the Mighty Ducks Game Changers full season review. Okay, so I'm going to be kind of bouncy through this because I'm going to be going through my notes, so this might be a little choppier than usual. Also, I apologize if there's any noise. I'm having to run a couple of fans here. Just, it's kind of stuffy. And one last thing. Yeah, sorry this is late. I've been busy today, so I just kind of got to it a while ago. But still, let's start with the show overall. The show overall is very enjoyable. There's really good chemistry between between all of the cast. I like some of the characters in all of this. There's, the chemistry between Emilio Estevez and Lauren Graham. Boy, how could I forget that? Lauren Graham is really good. Lauren Graham in particular makes a really relatable character in all of this. One of the running threads is Alex's boss, Stephanie, is also on the director of the board for the Mighty Ducks. We're going to do a deep dive into one episode in particular, obviously, but I'll get to that when I do. But she, like I said, Stephanie is on the board of directors for the Mighty Ducks, and you do get, and it's, you know, Stephanie is this really uber competitive person. She's pushing her kids to be the best. She's pushing everyone. You also see this a lot in Sophie's parents, who are also kind of pushing her to be the best. And you kind of get that where they're so driven that they're not stopping to appreciate that their kids need to have fun and to be kids at the same time. And so, yeah, you kind of get that undercurrent where, oh, they are the Don't Bothers, and yes, that is the team name, are kind of doing things the right way in all of this. So, yeah, I can appreciate that. And there's some interesting story threads in this. 2 of the girls on the team, Maya and Lauren. Lauren is the cosplayer, and Maya is the ex-popular girl who decided to join the team. And there's this scene where one of the story threads in there is they make a TikTok video together as they're bonding, but then suddenly Maya freezes Lauren out at the lunch table, and she kind of confronts her on it, and then when Maya returns to Lauren to sort of apologize, it turns out that Lauren has been freezing her out, and she's just as bad as Maya in some aspects. And there's some other things too, like at one point, because Evan starts playing well, and Ducks player gets a season-ending injury, the coach of the Ducks kind of goes through to try to get Evan to return back to the team, and the Don't Bothers find out, and it kind of starts, you get a little rough patch in there, and everyone's kind of forced back into working together. And so, like, you get those kind of bits and pieces in there. Like I said, we will do a big deep dive on the one episode that, again, probably does need a deep dive on, but if I have one real complaint with it, I mean, I know this is really, really nitpicky, but it's a lot of those things where it's just like, oh, do you not understand how things work? It's just, again, like I said, I know this is real nitpicky, but one of the things, like I said, with Sophie is her parents are, they really, you got to strive to be the best. We got to push you into doing all of these things, and you have to get A's, and you have to do well because you need, a college scholarship. And, her brother plays the French horn, not because he's good at playing the French horn or likes playing the French horn, but because it gets him a scholarship to Harvard. And the parents say, we want the same for you in hockey. Harvard doesn't give out athletic scholarships. No Ivy League school gives out athletic scholarships. Like, a 5-minute Google search would have cleared that up. And like I said, yeah, I know that's real nitpicky, but again, when something that quickly can be rectified, it just screams like, were you up against a deadline and you just couldn't take that little time to look up that factoid? Because it's a pretty big factoid. Likewise, basically what happened with Gordon, this is one of the deep dives we're going to do, but what happened with him was, with Gordon Bombay, he was coaching a college team and he violated NCAA rules. There was a kid who, broke his stick and he didn't have money to get a new one, and Bombay lent him the money to do so, and to get some equipment for him, and it turns out that was a violation, and as a result, like, he can't coach amateur hockey anymore, and it's like, one NCAA violation, unless it was really, really serious, and that's a very minor NCAA violation. Like, it's bad in the sense that, you are effectively giving an improper benefit to a player, which is a big no-no. But one violation, wouldn't result in that type of punishment. That is a very extreme punishment. At worst, he would have a show cause hire penalty, which is, if another school wanted to hire him, they would have to show cause, say, hey, he's learned his lesson, he's not going to do that anymore, and that sort of thing would happen. Not to mention, the NCAA doesn't have jurisdiction over junior level hockey. Like, the Ducks are all in middle school. They're like 13 or 14. These aren't high schoolers. Again, I don't think they would go down that far. In fact, it's late. At one point, this gets revealed to the evil Coach T, who's the coach of the Ducks, basically, kind of ferrets this out of Bombay at one point, and it's just like, ferrets, and he reports him, and it's like, well, yeah, but again, like, the Youth Hockey Association in Minnesota wouldn't, the NCAA wouldn't have jurisdiction over that. And again, it's the loophole gets revealed by the fact that, in order to be recognized by or some sort of thing in there, to be recognized as an NCAA supported thing or whatever, there has to have been college scouts at this. Again, this is middle school hockey. You wouldn't send college scouts to middle school hockey. You send it to high school hockey because that's where you recruit, or you would send them to camps or anything like that. Yes, I know. Yeah, sorry. Again, like I said, this is middle school hockey. We're about to get a visitor here, I think. This is middle school hockey. The NCAA wouldn't really recruit that. Again, and I know, like I said, I know that's really, really nitpicky, but again, maybe, like, I get the idea behind it, but at the same time, that's not what would happen. And I like a little accuracy in these types of things. But still, yeah, like I said, and then I think it does take an interesting turn because the team does start winning, and then it kind of goes to Alex's head because she's been measuring herself up against Stephanie, because Alex is a paralegal and Stephanie is like this big shot corporate lawyer, and you see that even the team's success is not only going to Alex's head, but starting to rub off in her work performance, and she's getting recognized by her company now. And you can see that it's Doug and Stephanie, and there's even a point where she finds out that Stephanie is getting a divorce. And this kind of, well, I'll get a bit into this. So basically what happens is, again, as it's going to Alex's head and she starts listening to Stephanie even more and say, oh, I need to be even more like her. So, here, start drinking spinach and wheatgrass smoothies, and you got to play, you got to go through 2 days of practice, and you got to have like these really physical and intense things. You got to push and push and push. And Sophie recognizes this because this is what her parents have been doing to her, and it's one of the reasons why she left the Ducks, is because she's being pushed too hard, and she can't, she's not having fun anymore. And then the team starts not having fun, and then when they barely win the game, and Alex rips the team for doing so, that finally proves to be the breaking point, and even Evan has to come up and say, you can't be coach anymore, Coach Bombay needs to coach us. And you kind of get the little sting in that, and it's just before the state tournament. So that's why Alex is in this low point. She kind of goes to the office, kind of work alone for a little bit, and she overhears Stephanie arguing with her soon-to-be ex-husband, and Stephanie is using, and as she and Stephanie are talking, Stephanie says, Yeah, it turns out my competitive streak that for so many years I thought was an asset has been a curse. And, because her husband is just as competitive too, and now she's more successful than he is, and he's underwhelmed. And you kind of get where, oh, and she stopped and she realized, oh God, I've been doing this to my kids too, because now they've been pushing too hard. And like, I forgot to stop every once in a while and let my kids just be kids and have fun. And so you're getting that kind of storyline playing out too. And from all this, there's a very unique turn. I won't get too far into the big spoiler at the end of the season, but obviously they do face the Ducks again with something on the line, but it's not in the way you're going to think, and it does sort of. You do get some nice resolution to everything. And then we're going to do a little deep dive after the break into the big episode I'm sure everyone's going to want to know about. So I will say this, again, overall, yeah, I do have to warn you, there's going to be more nitpicking in that deep dive. But yeah, anyway, overall, I'm going to give Mighty Ducks Game Changers a B. Maybe a B+. How about that? A B+. Yeah, again, I don't think I could quite get into A, because again, this is where the nitpicks just begin to mount up in terms of problems. But still, this is very enjoyable. If you like the Mighty Ducks, I think you're going to like this series. It does a good job of continuing arcs from the past movies and making it all still work in some ways.
Now you've won the Stanley Cup. Have you guys gotten soft? Are you slacking off or what?
No, we're still same group, so... Ow! What are you doing there? Lori, get over there and do it, please.
Do I have to buff him too, Petey?
Yeah, you do. Thank you.
Okay, so now we're going to do a real big deep dive into episode 6 of Mighty Ducks Game Changers, which is The Spirit of the Ducks, this is the big Mighty Ducks reunion episode, or at least the one they could do during the pandemic, because there are quite a few players missing. It's only about 8 players that show up, I think. But anyway, yeah. So again, to get more into Gordon Bombay's backstory, like I said, he was a college coach and he violated NCAA rules, and he resigned, which was just code word for saying, look, you take this and you get out. Yeah. We'll say you resign, we mutually agreed to resign, but no, you're fired. And for all intents and purposes, you were fired. And from there, he was kind of jobless, but he inherited the Ice Palace, which was where Hans and Jans, if you remember them from the movies, they were the sort of old mentor characters from Sweden, who Gordon had known when he was a kid. And so, when they took, so Hans died in D3, which I'll get into there. Jans died later, and when Jans passed, he left the ownership of the Ice Palace to Gordon Bombay. And the Ice Palace it's a figure skating rink, it's a skating rink, and sort of not Chuck E. Cheese-like, but yeah, it's one of those party center restaurants type things where you get, really greasy pizza and donuts and cocoa and stuff like that. And there's little like pinball machines and arcade games up in the background too. So yeah, and she sort of found it. Alex sort of finds it and asks if she can use it. That's where that comes from. So yeah, and then from there, so it's sort of struggling though. It doesn't really bring a lot of attention. It's quiet. Like you said, he just kind of wants to stay out of it because he's not. He lost his faith in hockey after. Again, he broke the NCAA rules, but he did so for kind of the right reasons in his mind. And, he's starting to fall back in with the Ducks very slowly. And, he's out one day, his window suddenly breaks. And it turns out this is Fulton Reed. The actor who played Fulton Reed was obviously Foggy on Daredevil. He's in The Butterfly Effect with Ashton Kutcher. I forget the actor's name, unfortunately. But, yeah, he's still in acting. And it's one of those, Fulton Reed is working construction, which does lead to the weird idea of, is D3 not in continuity anymore? Like, I understand that, like, Mighty Ducks 3 is the worst of the movies by far, but you'd think, getting a nice, fancy preparatory academy education, you would not be working a construction job. Maybe owning a construction company. I mean, they don't have to be like Fortune 500 CEOs, and I'll get more into that when we get there. So, but yeah, again, like, wow, I didn't expect that to be the case. Same with Lester Averman when he pops up as a chauffeur. Again, like, you all got scholarships to this elite preparatory academy to prepare you for college. You should be doing better than this. Like, they couldn't own the companies? And again, I know that's nitpicky. I know that's really nitpicky, but it's just, come on, like, just think. But still, you kind of get this. And Fulton reveals that there's supposed to be this big Mighty Ducks reunion being held by the actual Ducks. And Gordon finds out that he wasn't invited because they don't think because of the circumstances by which he was fired. They don't think he represents the team anymore, even though he founded it. But still, they held a sort of pre-reunion meetup at this local restaurant, and we start to find out more on some of the former Ducks members. Adam Banks is now a public defender, and Connie Moreau-Fermain, and Guy Fermain, who was my brother's favorite character in the original movie. Guy Fermain and Connie Moreau got married and have kids, and Connie is now a state senator. So, see, that's where we could have gotten some more insight. Like, that's where I do kind of wish, hey, maybe Fulton could have been running the construction company. And same with Averman being a chauffeur. Like, maybe he runs a chauffeur service that employs, people who maybe can't always, find jobs. But he pays well and stuff like that. You get the idea that Gordon rubbed off on them in the sense that they are helping others. Like, Adam Banks is a public defender. He's a lawyer, but he's a lawyer that doesn't make a lot of money because he's a public defender. But, if you know anything about public defenders. Connie is a state senator in Minnesota. She's serving the public good. And I wish that had maybe carried through. We also get, is it Henry Wu? Who is the lone representative from Mighty Ducks 2. Or D2, the Mighty Ducks. He was the former figure skater who turns junior Bash brother. So yeah, he makes a comeback, and unfortunately and like I said, Averman's there as well. And that's kind of the extent of the reunion, unfortunately. And again, I understand that maybe the pandemic sort of played into things a bit there, and they couldn't quite get everyone into this thing, but still, it was very nice. It's a very good nostalgia trip, but even then, there's one thread from there that's also brought up, which is it's implied that Bombay had a falling out with Charlie Conway, and again, that's one of those. If there is a season 2 of this, I really hope they can pay that off in some way. Like, I know Joshua Jackson in particular is probably really busy. I think they're doing another season of Little Fires Everywhere, aren't they? But yeah, again, it'd be nice to see him and get some closure on that a little bit, because, like I said, apparently he and Gordon Bombay had another falling out, and it's apparently left some old wounds. It's one of the reasons why Bombay didn't initially want to even participate in the reunion, but still, yeah, and eventually the Ducks sort of realize, oh, hey, why wasn't he invited to this? And they kind of chastise the current Ducks, and they hold a nice little reunion with the Don't Bothers instead. And that turns out to be a very nice episode. And like I said, if we do follow through, if we do get a season 2, I would like to see some sort of explanation as to what happened with Charlie Conway. Because, again, he was, next to Bombay, he's the main character of the series. So, yeah, I think all of that would work nice. So after that, like I said, I won't go deep diving into the rest of the season, but just I felt we needed to have a good deep dive into that episode. And like I said, it's a really good episode. I mean, the drawbacks are just the nitpicky parts in that, and I believe that's also where a lot of the fallout with Evan practices. Basically, Evan gets invited to skate with the Ducks and practice with them again because they're offering him a spot. And then he's traveling, he transfers back to, he goes back to the Don't Bothers. He elects to turn them down, but then this Instagram footage shows up of him skating, and, they get angry because he, wasn't forthright with them, and there's a lot of angsty stuff. So, anyway, that's the other subplot to that. But that's where it carries through into the next episode. So we'll stop after that part. Anyway, Okay, I don't know what the next review is. I'll try to see if I can get something up in between now and the premiere of Loki. Like I said, I'm not really planning to see anything in the theaters just yet. I'm not seeing Cruella. I have seen the reviews for it, and I know the weird plot twist they added into that. So no, I'm not seeing Cruella. Like I said, I don't plan on seeing anything in the theaters until July and Black Widow comes out. So hopefully we can, like I said, hopefully I can get out and do something else too. So I'll get some other videos up. I don't know if it'll be more me playing video games and just rambling, but you never know. But for now, I'm going to say the next video after this is probably going to be the random trade review on Black Panther Back to Africa. See you all next time. Hey guys, remember, you can help support my channel at patreon.com/SleepyTimeForCat Productions, where you can help request a movie, even if it's something like, say, Sonic the Hedgehog or the next Purge film. I'll review it.